It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Chief, Bart Brunsheen.
This is Chief from the Dice Tower, and today we're going to be talking about Firepoint Rescue. This came to me as a Game Crafter game. Many of you know that it is currently getting ready to actually ship out. It was a Kickstarter game, so the components are going to be much better than what you see here. But I got to tell you, I was very pleased to get this game, and even though it came in this box, this is one of the best Game Crafter productions that I've had show up at the door. So very fun game, cooperative game. It's not really a firefighter sim, but we'll take a closer look and I'll show you how this thing works, and I think you're going to like it. All right, we're in with a closer look here. First of all, let me tell you the map is double-sided. Obviously I've got it kind of pre-set up, so I'm not going to flip it over now, but so you got a little bit of variety in your map. Let me show you the main key component of what's going on with this map. You'll see coming down this perimeter here on the side, you're going to have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they're in the shape of a die. And that's going to be crucial because when you roll this dice here, this die here, it's going to correspond with that side of the board. When you roll the 8-sided die, it's going to correspond with the numbers 1 through 8 on the top and the bottom. Sets up a grid method, and this is going to be important on when you're putting out possibly additional fires, explosions, or smoke, and I'll explain how that goes in a bit. What I've got pre-set up on the map here is a 1-alarm fire. You basically roll the dice, you're going to get a quadrant. You're going to place the fire down. In this case, this was my quadrant, and then you're going to explode it. Exploding just means that the fire is going to spread to all the areas on either side, and if it's up next to a wall, it'll do some damage. In other words, if this place blew up, I would spread fire here, it would do 1 damage to this wall, and then the fire would come down, track through this one, and do damage here as well. Kind of how a fire spread works, but I'll get into that when I go through a whole turn. But you'll see here we've got doors. These doors are closed. Doors can be opened. All right, so open or closed. Firefighters are going to enter from the side of the map, and there's going to be these little people down here. I've got them out just for display, but these little people on the back, they're question marks. These are called points of interest, or POIs. You're never going to know if you've got a person or if you've got a hazardous material, which has the same marker on the back, or if you've got what's called a false alarm, which again has the same thing on the back. There'll be 3 of these set up on the board using that same dice rolling grid method. So they'll be on the map somewhere. They obviously can't be where the fire's at, but they might be adjacent to it. You won't know exactly what they are when they're out there, but there'll always be at least 3 on the board. The goal to winning the game is going to be to get these people off the map. There's an advanced version where you have to get them off the map and on an ambulance, and I'll show you those little cards in a little bit. I play with the advanced method because the advanced one allows you to bring in all these different roles that you see here, and I'll talk about them towards the end. A turn simply goes like this. You first look at the map. If you have less than 3 POIs anywhere in the building, you're going to roll the 2 dice, find out on the grid where they're going to go, and you're going to place the extra POI. So if I'd rolled, it could go anywhere, but just for example's sake, now I have 3 on there. I then would have my firefighter. I can enter through any one of these doors on the side here. These are always permanently open, so these will not close. I can start anywhere on the map, but let's just say I started here, which is probably where I'd want to start since these guys are sitting right in front of me. And I have 4 actions, very much like Pandemic. An action is to move. I could then move into a space where one of these POIs are, turn it over, and I see, well, this isn't a person, that's actually hazardous material. I can get hazardous material. I can pick it up just like I would a person, get it out of the building. It's an explosion hazard. but with these other two POIs there, I would probably ignore it. So let's say that was one action, two actions. As soon as you move onto a location, it's revealed. You don't have to spend an action to reveal it. Of course, I went and pulled in all these little deals. Let's just say I got over to here first. So let's just pretend I came on 1 and 2. I have 2 actions left, and the reason I wanted to show you this is because in order to pick up and drag a victim out, it's as if they've been overcome by the smoke. I can still move with them, but it takes 2 actions to move with them. So that would have completed my turn. So some of the actions you can do, simple movement. If I were putting out a fire, I could attack the fire either in the same space or adjacent to it. If I get it once, it flips to the smoke side. And if I get it again, it comes off the board. If it was just a piece of smoke, one action would remove it. So I can fight the fire. Every firefighter has an axe. They can breach walls. It takes 2 action points to breach a wall and allow me to move through it. Of course, here I'd have a door. I could just move over and it takes 1 action to open a door. If I open a door, I flip it over to the white side. An action point to move in, and oftentimes you want to reclose the door because if a fire picks up, a fire can move right through an open door, whereas if the door is closed, it can't automatically roll through there. So there's a lot of opening and closing doors. When doors are breached, if I breach this door, it takes 2 action points, and I would put these damage tokens on there. 2 damage tokens show that the wall is down. There's a cool little function. If you run out of all of these white tokens, then the building collapses and you've actually lost the game. The other way you can lose the game is if you have 3 of your little people that you're trying to rescue. If they're killed by the fire, you lose the game. So they die if the fire ends up in their hex. Your firefighter can never die. They can get caught on fire and then they have to lay down, and you remove the fire marker, and then they're able to go about their business after they lose their next turn. But you can't ever have a firefighter die. Let me show you a couple of the firefighter deals here, just to go over them. You have the driver operator. There are vehicles that can be positioned around the edges of the board. In the advanced mode, you have to actually rescue the people, get them all the way off the map and onto an ambulance. The fire truck, very cool. He has a deck gun and he can spray water into the building, into a different zone. Not hard to play, a little hard to explain, so I'll kind of gloss over it. The water cannon's very powerful. You got to be a little careful when you spray it in because it can actually take out your victims or your points of interest people that are in there too, or it can knock down your firemen. So usually it's when a fire is completely out of control in a region, you'll sweep in with the truck, fire the deck gun into that area, and just suppress some of the fire. You can hold over some of your APs, your action points, so they give you a card to show how many action points you have, and you can use them in the next round or in the very next turn. Kind of a unique function that you can save them, and then this card's there to show you how many you've saved. So we covered the driver operator. Everybody can drive the vehicles. He gets to do it instead of 4 action points, he gets to do it for 2. A generalist gets 5 APs instead of 4. The rescue specialist, he can basically chop through walls easier. He is incapable of fighting fire though, so he's limited in some of his roles. The hazmat technician deals with hazardous materials more effectively. The CAFS firefighter, he's basically spraying foam, makes him a very effective firefighter. The paramedic school, instead of having to drag the victims out of the place, he can come in and heal them in place, or she can heal them in place, and then they can simply move with you, and it doesn't cost 2 APs to move them through. The imaging technician, he or she can view a point of interest, a question mark, and reveal it, because you do have false alarms that are in there that look like this, and you might work your way all the way to something you think is a person. When it's like this, you flip it over, and unfortunately it's just a false alarm. These usually save me. I'll have a fire break out in a region, won't be able to get a guide, I'm just hoping it's a false alarm. And then you have the fire captain. the fire captain can give orders to other players that are just movement orders. He can't tell them how to fight fires or whatever, but he can tell them, go here, go there. So that's basically it. There's some more, again, not technical, but there's some stuff on if you roll the die and at the end of the turn, so you put down POIs, you do your action points. The very last thing you do is roll those grid dice again, and that puts out a smoke marker if it's a vacant space, unless it's next to a fire. If you're putting a smoke marker down next to a fire, it actually is the fire spreading. If you get the grid spot, like here it would be a 3-2, there's already a fire there. That means there's an explosion, and the fire radiates out and will do damage to walls, knock down doors. Very fun. The fire spreads very quickly, and you definitely do get a team feeling about what's going on when you're playing the game. So I like it a lot. So that's it. Firepoint, it's changed names now. It's Flashpoint Fire Rescue. The designer, Kevin Lansing, has a great game here, and I've pre-ordered my Kickstarter copy, so I can't wait for it to show up. So we'll go wrap up. In review, as far as cooperative games go, I like this one. It plays very well. I like the different roles, the different things you can do. It definitely feels like a team game. And right out of the chute here, you can play with 6 people. Really fun. So I like it. Now they just need one about cops, because other than fighting the fires, let's be honest, firemen's kind of like a grown-up fraternity. I work next to these firemen all the time. I'm telling you, while I'm out working, they're grilling steaks and throwing a football around. So very good game though, even if it is about firemen. This is the Chief. See you guys later.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.